Hello everyone, I'm here today with a new flip through, and this one is for day 4, the last full day that we spent in San Francisco. We were actually there on day 5 for a little bit, but basically it was just sleeping a little bit, get up, go to the airport and fly home. So I do have that included at the end. But here's my opening page. I decided to actually do a digital template in Canva and then just have it printed, and then I embellished on top of that on the print because I had so many photos from when we were driving here. And actually this, I should clarify a little bit. We booked a tour, so a coach bus tour to take us out to Muir Woods and then to Sausalito. So this is on our way out, and we actually made a stop along the way at a viewing point for the Golden Gate Bridge, but it was on the opposite side. So the day before we had seen it from, the side where we were staying, our side of the bay, but now we got to see it from the other side. So that was kind of fun. But here all I did was just add like these 2 little pieces of ephemera, and that's it. It really didn't need much else, and that's kind of what I was going for because the album was getting super thick by this time, so I really had to pick and choose what kind of embellishments I was using. So actually on the other side I have the same thing happening. So this was our viewing point across the bay, and I wanted to keep it really, really simple, just focus on the views here. And then I actually got a decent selfie like that I didn't hate. And so I put that in there too, but very simple embellishments here. And then here we are, we arrived at Muir Woods, and this was one of our favorite things we did. So if you have the chance and you're in San Francisco and you're thinking about booking a tour for this was totally worth the money. And I don't even remember what we paid, but it was worth it. And you have an option to go back on the coach from Sausalito, or they will give you a ferry ticket. We love ferries and we wanted to be on the water, so we're like, you know what, we're doing the ferry option. So you'll see that as well. But for now, here we are in Muir Woods when we first got dropped off, and we really only had like an hour and 15 minutes to explore. So we kind of just did like the main trail as far as we could, turned around and came back the same way, and then spent the last part in the gift shop and getting a drink and a snack. But here I'm happy I was finally able to use this. I've had some acetate pieces from an old Allie Edwards travel collection for a while, and I got to use up another piece of it because I've just had like a handful of pieces left over. So nice to use up stuff that's been in my stash. And then here I have some more photos, but I also have quite a bit of memorabilia. I picked up a lot of stuff here, probably more than I needed, but I tried to use as much as possible. I actually only had 1 sticker that I didn't use, and I'm going to give that to my friend, I think. But here I just have a perfect pocket card because it's actually from John Muir, so it's fitting for Muir Woods. But here's my photo, minimal embellishments. This was a postcard I got in the gift shop, and it just worked with the colors I had and the theme. So that went in untouched. And then I wanted to put in the full brochure, so it does fold all the way out. I didn't cover any part of it with anything. And then here I had another great card. I had been saving this for a while, wondering if I would ever get somewhere where I could use it, and then it happened. So I was able to use that, and again kept the embellishments very, very minimal. And here again, perfect card. I happened to take this photo, had this card at home, and actually I didn't remember that when I took this. It just worked out. When I came home and was looking through stuff, I was like, hey, I've got a card for that. And then I just put on a very, very simple phrase there, and that was enough. I also had this card, and then this was just a little piece of ephemera that I had from probably Ellie's studio, I would guess. I don't remember for sure. Maybe Citrus Twist? I don't remember. But it worked perfectly right there, and it brought in some more green to a very dark card. So happy about that. And then the photo, all I did was this. Again, trying to keep it flat, minimal embellishments. And then this was another postcard I picked up in their gift shop, so of course had to use that. And then I chose to do another Canva template here because I had so many photos from out in the woods. Like, if you use too many, they become like not special anymore, and they just all look the same. So I wanted to kind of keep control of how many I was using. So I dropped in some here that I liked that were a little unique, and then I liked that I got my friend from behind here while she was looking up. Again, minimal embellishments, kept it very, very simple. And then on the back, I originally thought I was going to journal, but I decided, you know what? These kind of speak for themselves. I don't need to do a ton of journaling here. So I chose to just use like some random embellishments that I had. And I've had this sticker again. I had 2 of them. That's from Paper Person, I think. Had them forever. I finally got to use the other one. So perfect. And then here my friend had taken a photo of me, and I don't love it, but I don't hate it. So I allowed it to go in the album. Just, minimal embellishments again. I had things that fit nicely. This was actually a long embellishment here. It's chipboard with a design on it, self-adhesive on the back. I just chose to cut off the rest and save it. I'll use it for something else. I just needed a little bit here, so that worked pretty well. And then on the back, I just have a full 4x6 photo that I liked because it shows the crazy height of those trees. And same thing here. I just kept this really simple. 1 chipboard embellishment, and that's it. When we were done at Muirwoods, we got back on the coach bus, and then they took us to Sausalito and just dropped us off kind of in a parking lot in the main part of town. And then those that were going back on the bus were supposed to meet back. We didn't even have to do that because we had our ferry tickets, so we could kind of take as long as we wanted, which was nice. But this was kind of at the entrance to the town, which was cute. I had to get a picture of that. And then this was just, these are shops in here. But I loved the building so much, I had to get a picture of that. And we did walk around and do some shopping, but we also needed to have lunch while we were out there. And we looked at a couple places, and my friend is not big on seafood. I will eat fish, but I don't particularly like crab or lobster or any of that. So it was a little tough. We found this place and we're like, you know what? The menu's decent, little something, for everybody, we can do it. So we ended up eating here, and I can't eat beef anymore since I have my gallbladder out. It's really, really hard on my stomach, but they had an alternative hamburger, so I was able to do it. Super happy about that. And then we had drinks, and they were lovely. But we loved the decor was very much sea lion oriented since they were right on the bay. And I just tried to use things that matched like the bright greens and yellow tones that were in here. And I really liked the way that turned out. So after lunch, we had time to walk around more. And so we decided to just kind of stroll the main drag and just see what was there. And they had this beautiful park. You can see here, Plaza Viña del Mar. And I just felt like it was super tropical, very California. So I thought I have to get pictures of that. And I just happen to have like cards and some embellishments that matched really well, especially like this card. When else would I use that? Might as well use it there. And then we did find a Christmas shop, so we had to go in. And the one we had found on the wharf, Pier 39, was very kind of kitschy and cliche, so we didn't buy anything there. This one had more unique things that were more specific to California, to Sausalito, so we really enjoyed this one, and I just love their decorating style. But again, I did collages here in Canva and then just embellished on the outside on top of the collage. And this one I loved because I was able to use some alternative colors. I like non-traditional colors. If I'm going to scrap about the holiday, having the non-traditional colors is fun. So I was able to use this blue instead, and it really fit with some of their decor. Again, minimal embellishments here. And then I kind of had some extra stuff that like wasn't this theme or this theme. So I chose to just do one, just highlight kind of the white, green, and gold. And then I had a bunch of these more vintagey looking embellishment things. It's an ephemera pack I've had for a long time. There were so many pieces in there. This was a great opportunity to use up some of those. And here was a unique display. They had like an old time 50s, 60s-ish TV where the screen would be like there was a Christmas scene, and then they had this set up for Christmassy drinks, and I was totally digging that. So I was like, I'm gonna use that picture. And then I had this card that I thought, well, that's perfect. It's got a very fun vibe, lots of color happening. I just slapped this little piece of ephemera on and called it good. So when we were done with our shopping and walking along the main parts of town, we did go into some other stores too, but like I didn't have enough photos of those really to warrants doing a page, but we did see other places. But then we were off to explore the marina while we waited for our ferry. We didn't want to be late, so we thought, you know what, we'll just leisurely walk over there, then we can enjoy the boats and everything, and we won't worry about being late. So here you can see I've used just a card where I cut down the photo to fit, and I did do some journaling on the back here because it was very enjoyable. We had beautiful weather. It was a perfect day for this. So there we are, just walking along the marina. I actually picked this up in one of the shops that we went into while we were there, so I was able to use that acrylic sticker there. And then we saw lots of stuff where the boats were docked, and we just, again, we're very leisurely, enjoying being out in the sun, the fresh air. And I had, again, cards that were perfect for this. I loved this little sun with the face, so I just added a little journaling, little piece of ephemera here. This is a very thin cardstock sticker. I had this card. I don't remember where that's from, like what set it's in, but I had it in my stuff and I freaking love it. I love the waves, the colors, like it just worked perfectly. And then here's where we're getting ready to take the ferry and go back to San Francisco. And then this was once we were back on the wharf. And I happened to have this acrylic piece that I didn't use when I used the rest of it for the wharf. And so I thought, oh, that's perfect, because we came back and explored the wharf a little bit more before we were kind of done for the night. So we had walked around, and there was the, I think it's the Ghirardelli. Is that the one that's there in San Francisco? There's a chocolate factory, though, along the wharf. And we walked up because my friend was thinking she wanted to go. By the time we even got close to it, she was like, you know what? I'm done. I'm so tired. We've done so much since we've been here. So much walking today. Let's just skip it and go back to our room. So we did. And by the time we got back there, we just decided, you know what? We're good. We've done enough sightseeing. You know, we can just hang out for the rest of the night. So we didn't even go out to dinner. We ordered in. So did I do DoorDash or Uber Eats? I did DoorDash. So we found a good Asian place nearby, ordered that, and just had it brought to the hostel. And we ate in the shared area in the kitchen. And you know what? That was perfect. Actually, a great end to the trip. And I loved this card because it was so true to our experience that day. We were just pleasantly done for the day because we'd had so much fresh air and outdoor activity. And so now this is all you get for the last day. We just walked basically from where we were staying to the train station so that we could get the train to the airport, but we passed some of the lovely buildings in downtown. So I wanted to showcase those because they were definitely like architecturally interesting. But all I did here really was stamp, which is awesome because it's an easy way to embellish. And then here we are. We actually flew from San Francisco to Denver, had a relatively short layover, just enough time for lunch basically, and then we were back home to Minneapolis. So this was on our flight between Denver and home, and you can see that right there. And then I like the aisle seat, but my friend likes the window, and so she was able to get a great shot over the wing there. And then we were home. So that's the end of the album. But look at how huge this is. I'm going to take that out as the divider. This ended up being just kind of a ginormous album. I think I counted my page protectors, and there are 61 page protectors in here, plus then all the inserts and everything. So there you go. You can see how big it is. But I loved the trip. It was a long one at 4 days, and I'm so happy that the album is done. So thanks for watching.